Hi guys, this is Chizom again and Esther. One question I've got, or one question I kept getting from people was asking, how can they switch roles or switch careers to business analyst? Now, one of them is a carer, the other is I'm trying to remember her job role. Sorry about that. I forgot him. But yeah, so one of them is a career and the other is I can't remember the job role. But now the question that I did get from both of them was how can they switch roles to becoming a business analyst? It's possible. One thing that you have to think about in your previous role. Now I'm speaking to people that have relocated from a different country to the UK. One thing I understand in the UK is that when you are going into IT roles, they want to see your previous experience that you've gotten or your work experience that you've gotten within the UK. That's, majority, but not all. But now you've moved from another country, maybe Nigeria, and you're in the UK and you want to get into the IT, space, and wondering how can you have some transferable skills, or how can you modify your CV or shape your CV to attract um to attract some interviews or recruiters. Now the transferable skills you know you can't have to become a business analyst. These are the ones I've listed here. One of them is communication skills. Despite or wherever you're working, you definitely you communicate. For if you're a carer, you communicate. If you are a customer service advisor, you do communicate. So communication skills is very important. And communication is not by saying ABC, you talk to me, I talk back. No, the attentive listening, the ability to understand what the stakeholder is saying, and the ability to communicate back, like you relate yourself or relate what you're saying back to them, and they do understand. The recipient is understanding what you're saying. So communication is explaining complex ideas clearly to both technical team and the non-technical team. So one of the transferable skills is communication. So if you can modify your CV or you shape your CV, adding the communication there, that is going very good. Another thing you have to do as a business analyst, you are a problem solver. Critical thinker and problem solver. So you being critical thinking, think about in your previous role where there was a problem and how you brought solution to the problem, or how you were part of the team who brought the solution to the problem. You try to break it down into your CV, break down every complex problem into smaller issues or smaller manageable parts, and then identify the root cause and see how you brought the solution to that problem. The other thing is stakeholder management. The people you are dealing with, they are your stakeholders. So if you're a carer, the people you dealt with, you spoke with, the nurses, the if there are doctors there, the cleaners, the even the people receiving the care from you, they are all your stakeholders. So stakeholder management, building relationship with different teams. This is something that you can that can be transferable. If as a customer service advisor, you know your stakeholders, the people you speak to on the phone, the way you bring solution, the problem that comes up, all these are stakeholder management. It's transferable. So you break it down by saying on your CV how you were able to manage relationship between different teams and how you were able to resolve conflicts between stakeholders. And the other thing you have to talk about is requirement gathering. Based on your previous roles, how did you gather those requirements? For example, maybe you are on the call and the customer calls you and tells you, "Oh, I'm wanting to do X, Y, and Z," and you say, "Okay, just give me a moment. Let me go and see if I can find that research, that thing before you even go and find the solution. You are gathering that requirement from the customer. Do you get? So requirement gathering. In every role, in any role you do in the past, think about how you gather that requirement, the ability to distinguish. This is the requirement. This is how you're bringing the solution, converting those ideas into clear and structured requirements. That is one thing. When you gather that requirement, documentation. Now, documentation is one big skills as a business analyst. Documentation, if you're working as maybe in the waterfall methodology. You love to document. You will be documenting. So documentation is one skills as a business analyst. So you think about how you gather the requirements, how you document those requirements, what tools you use in documenting, and you can then go further to research about how you present those documents. Now, there are sometimes documentation is just write-ups, while the other times documentation is providing or creating process map, process flow, wireframes, using different tools like Visual, Miro, and the rest. Now, after the documentation, what's other thing that you think about is attentive to details, which is also relating to communication, paying attention to details, giving updates, feedbacks, or validating that requirement that you have gathered to your stakeholders, making sure you and your stakeholders are all on the same page. Now, if you nice to have, I would say, as a business analyst, is to learn the technical skills, technical data skills like your Excel, learning how to use your Excel, maybe basic learning of or basic understanding of your Excel, inputting data in Excel, doing basic, solution if you want to, basic arrangement of your work in Excel, creating new sheets. That's simple, basic thing. You can learn that and explain that. Yeah, I would say these are the things. Then if you want to learn further to become a business analyst, the tools we use as a business analyst, one of them is Jira. Very, very important. You have to learn your Jira. Well, it's important, but depending on where you're working, not every organization use Jira, or some organization, but different departments use different things. So in my department, we use Jira, but it's very minimal. The other departments I know, they use Jira so much. Miro, number 2, another tools you can use. So for your requirement gathering or your presenting your requirements, process flow, and the rest, Miro, Jira, Visio, Trello. Trello is lightweight. It's like you managing your work or giving the workflow or the timeline or the task that has been done, what is left. You can learn Trello. Azure DevOps, I learned it, but I have not used it in my department or in my organization. I don't think we use it in my organization, but you can learn that. In documenting, the general tools we use here is Excel, Word, PowerPoint, Google Sheet if you want to as well. Now, in your process flow, like I said, your Microsoft Visio, your Lucid, like there's one they call Lucid Chat. I've not used that myself. Draw.io, I've learned it, but I use it in the past in my previous role, but not here, not in my this organization. Miro, I learned it recently and it's very, very good. You can learn that. It's very good. Now, if you are in depth, like data business analyst in quote, and you want to learn your SQL, that's good, or Excel again, but in depth into Excel, very perfect. Power BI, great, or Tableau or Click, great. Now, wireframes. Now, if you want to do into visualization and the rest, Figma and Balsamiq. I've not used Balsamiq, but Figma as well, I haven't, but you can learn that. You can learn, there are others that is being listed here, but I haven't used that. But if you're preparing your prototypes, you can use your Balsamiq, Figma, Marvel. I've not heard of that before, but I just googled it and I've not heard of it before. Now, some business analysts do testing as well. In my organization, in my department, in fact, in my previous department, before I moved to product, we do testing, depending on if there is no tester. So if there are no testers, you do testing. So you don't have that testing skills, you have to learn it. It's not too difficult, but yeah, you can learn that. I can't remember every other thing, but in terms of communication and collaboration, you use your Zoom, you use your Teams, you use Slack, or Microsoft Teams. That helps with collaboration. Even with Jira too, you can collaborate. Miro, you can collaborate as well with your stakeholders. I think that's what I can say so far. If you remember anything else that I have missed out, you can put that in the comment section. Please like, share, and tell me what more you want me to talk about in my role as a business analyst. Thank you. Bye-bye.